You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Tonight's live showdown, Trump set to face the reporter he tried to subpoena, based on an article by Robert Rye. Trump's jet, his ego, and the state as personal bodyguard. Power wears the dais. Tonight's White House Correspondents Association dinner gives the old ritual a familiar lie. Access passes for accountability. Trump will sit on the dais. The press corps will hand out an award for objective reporting, and the man being covered will still be the dominant force in the room. That is the actual hierarchy. The ceremony pretends to center journalism. The event, as described here, mostly demonstrates how much journalism still bends around power it claims to scrutinize. The gift was never a gift. Trump accepted a Qatari 747-8 reportedly worth about $400 million and called it a gift to the United States, despite the constitutional ban on gifts from foreign powers to presidents. The source text already shows the fraud plainly. Trump says he wants to keep it for his presidential library and as a post-presidential toy. That is not public service. It is foreign luxury recast as state property, then rerouted back into private vanity. The larger issue is not just corruption. It is the collapse of any honest boundary between office and self. Trump treats the presidency as a branding exercise with security clearances. The money trail exposes the scam. Trump bragged the jet would cost taxpayers a dime. The source says the retrofit to presidential standards has already run between $400 million and $1 billion, and the plane still is not secure enough to fly. That is the story in one line. A supposed freebie turns into a public bill larger than the object itself. This is how political grift works at scale. The beneficiary sells the fantasy of savings, then hands the invoice to the public after the deal is already politically protected. The claim of no cost was never a promise. It was camouflage. Trump's real injury was embarrassment. The Times reporting that Trump had to fly out of Turkey on the old Air Force One because the Qatari jet lacked sufficient security, including anti-missile capabilities, triggered the real response. Not national security concern. Humiliation. CNN described Trump as fuming, embarrassed, and angry. That is the more honest account. So Trump did what he always does when reality punctures his image. He recast criticism as a security threat and sent the FBI after journalists. Kash Patel and Susie Wiles were put on the case. FBI subpoenas went to journalists' homes and to their phone service providers, seeking records for the reporters and their spouses. This is not oversight. It is retaliation dressed up as process. The target was the press, not leaks. The subpoena campaign exposes the actual objective, intimidation. The story threatens Trump because it makes him look ridiculous, not because it endangers the country. He can even admit the jet still has to be maxed for security and still use the machinery of state to punish the people who wrote it down. That distinction matters. A president who mobilizes the White House and FBI to defend his pride is not protecting institutions. He is colonizing them. The problem is not a leak investigation gone too far. The problem is a presidency built around personal grievance, where federal power is available whenever the boss feels mocked. What this pattern really is. The pattern is older than this jet and uglier than this one story. Trump converts private vanity into public obligation, then uses state force to erase the evidence. A foreign-donated luxury plane becomes a gift to the nation, a public cost becomes someone else's fault, and journalists become targets for documenting the contradiction. That is the governing logic of authoritarian politics in miniature. Lie about the arrangement, punish the witness, and flood the zone with institutional performance until the abuse looks routine. The scandal is not only that Trump wants the biggest, sleekest plane, it is that he can bend agencies, rules, and media rituals around that want and still call the result normal. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article, with the automated voice of Amy. Thanks for listening.